So Hans has a membership program. We just started this not long ago, depending on when you're
Facebook.
obviously watching the video. It involves, yes, it's the link is down below this video. We have a whole dedicated page to it. Also, I'm going to tell you about it, but you can go to alpinecaninereel.com and you will see it says join membership right there. There's a button right there.
It's a Facebook.
Yeah, it's a private. Yep,
private
I'm gonna
membership thing.
Yeah. So what it is, it's if the videos are great, and Hans has some great videos, but ultimately you need help with your dog, right? You have behavior modification issues, you have obedience issues, and this private Facebook group is where Hans personally helps you. The great thing here is that it's a library of things as the membership builds, as the people are asking questions. So you will also see other people's issues. So it's a wonderful hub of knowledge. You can upload the video of the issue, which is the big one, because Hans, you're going blind a lot of time. You know, people telling you type, but video is the best way, correct? Yeah. So you have that opportunity inside this private Facebook group to upload your issue, and Hans will be there to help.
Yeah, and it's an issue about the obedience itself, because, you know, when I started training dogs and all that, I did it from books and stuff. Nobody ever told me anything. I learned a lot on my own, and then I got some input from other people. But you know, you can read something or listen to something and still do it wrong.
Yeah.
You need, unless you do it 100 times and they say, oh yeah, I forgot this and I forgot that. Where if you record your session and send me, download it, let's say on YouTube, and put it as a link,
whichever way,
and I look at it, I can immediately tell you what you're doing wrong,
yeah,
right? And what you should do better, and what you do good, and what you should do next.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what the group is all about. Yeah. And there's going to be two. There are, or it's already active. Yeah. There are two ways to do it. One is the virtual hunts, and we're still expanding on the virtual hunts.
It's an artificial intelligence. I was going
to. It's artificial intelligence where you can ask questions 24/7, and you will get an answer, and you won't get a generic answer which was collected by AI from internet. You get mine answer, because Gabor inserts my articles and my videos and my posts into the memory of the AI, and the AI reaches into their memory to answer your questions. And there's literally thousands of topics I wrote about, and even so it's active, we keep adding on it, continuously, and eventually it's gonna be like a big book of what I teach and my philosophy. So, book, you have everything there, but this will be just like an encyclopedia, like a book. You want to look at.
You ask your problem.
Yeah, you ask about Russian Revolution, right? So you go to Russian Revolution.
You won't have that in there, but
okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or you want to see how to split atoms, so you go and look up split atom. In the encyclopedia, of course, we are not talking about stuff like that, but maybe we will one day.
So, yeah, and
so that's it. So that's the virtual hunts, what I call it, the artificial intelligence answers. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to worry about calling me at 2:00 at night, right? You can tap into it anytime, 24/7.
Yeah.
And then if you don't get the answer, or you can try to reformulate it, right? And if still don't get an answer, then you can ask me within the timeline, right?
Yeah.
And I will answer it. I'll go there every day and I see what somebody is asking, and I will answer your question personally. Okay.
Yeah. And another neat feature of the AI is if we have a video, let's say it's 30 minutes long, and you ask the question, but your answer lies like 10 minutes and 30 seconds into the video, well, it'll start the video at that 10 minutes and 30 seconds where the answer is to your question. Now that's powerful, because we have a lot of video in the course, and that's a huge time saver, and also just pinpoints you to where the issue, where your answer is. So yeah, please click below this video, and the link is there. And also, again, you can go to alpinecaninereal.com, and it says join membership. There's a button. All right, guys, that's it.
Yeah. Ahoy.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. If you're a veteran, welcome back. Today, we have a fun topic, good topic, very important topic that's dear to Hans's heart. You're from the Czech Republic, and the dogs are legendary, and there's people out there that say otherwise, that they're not, and so forth.
Well, I'm the one who imported the first Czech Border Patrol line dogs to the United States.
Yeah, back in the early
And
80s.
there are people out there recently and before
Yeah.
Who question what's so special about these Czech dogs.
Yeah.
And I want to stress out, it's not about geographic purity. Okay, there's a lot of people who want to breed dogs just because they're from Czech, and that's not it. Okay, this is pretty far, man.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Okay.
It picks it up. Yep. Yep.
The reason why the Czech dogs are special, some of them lines, is caused by different things. First of all, we talked about the ZVV. There is a video on that. I suggest you guys watch it. Basically, I will summarize it quickly. ZVV, when I was living in Czechoslovakia, and when I was in military schooling and stuff like that, they always, the officers never says if we have a war, they always said when we have a war, right?
When, not if.
Not if, but when, right? And so the whole socialist socialism was geared towards potential war, and when if the war would start or be about to start, there would be
Kind of mobilization?
mobilization.
Yeah.
I was looking
Yeah.
for that word. Thank you. And during that mobilization, they would confiscate things like bicycles, cars,
For the war effort?
for the war
basically. Yeah.
effort, and dogs. Okay, and so the communist government wanted the dogs to be trained, so they implemented the ZVV style testing. Like you have Schutzhund 1, 2, 3, 4. They had a ZVV 1. It still exists. ZVV 1, 2, 3, right? I said 1, 2, 3, 4. There is no 4. Sorry, misspoke. But during that, you need to train the dog obedience, protection, and tracking. Okay, and so when you bred the, you get yourself a German Shepherd, okay, for example, and you had to pay tax on a dog. And these are not exact numbers. I'm just going to say these numbers for the sake of explanation. Let's say you would be paying $5 a year tax on a trained dog with a ZVV1 at least title. And if you would not have a ZVV1 title, you would pay like $1,500 a year, right?
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, everybody who had a dog want to put a title on it so they don't have to pay high tax. Yeah. So what happened was then, and I talked about it in the other video, but this is okay to repeat, I think, worthwhile.
Yeah.
What happened was they would, if you want to buy yourself a dog, you would say, well, I want to buy a dog from Joe Blow down the street because there are easy dogs to train. Right? And not from Emerith Smith over here because his dog sucks. Right? And that naturally promoted the quality of the dogs. Because people voted with their dollar literally for the proper quality of the dog. So, so that's one aspect of why the dogs, generally speaking, from the old Czech lines are better, because whole country promoted these dogs by selecting dogs which were workable. So that's one aspect. Then we have the Border Patrol aspect, okay? The Border Patrol aspect is, and I've talked about it on this video on the end of it, but I say it again. The Czech Border Patrol had a program which was based on mainly 5 studs from DDR. And then specifically they bred them, trained them, and socialized them, and tested them. And we just, Gabor here just cleared the seminar we had about this in Puerto Rico, and it's going to come up for sale. And it basically explains everything in great detail.
Yeah.
So it's coming up, guys. This is to me one of the most important videos coming up ever, because, you know, even so I worked with Yuri, I forgot a lot, but this was put together in the seminar by Yuri, and he was a military man, and he had it, you know, really well prepared.
Yeah.
And it makes all sense, right? And
and it's not just important, it is important for you personally because you guys were dear friends, but this is important for the German Shepherd as a whole, like it's that important.
Well, right, it improves the German Shepherd breed.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, you know, I always told Yuri, you are like, you know, like the second Max von Stefanitz, because after Stefanitz, there was only very few people who had influence on a German Shepherd as much as Yuri.
Yeah.
And Yuri Novotny.
Yeah.
There were some others, okay, I have to say, right? But there's some people from Holland, Netherlands, whatever, you know, and he passed away too. Koos was his name.
Okay.
And he was more specializing in really super high aggression dogs, where German Shepherd needs to be versatile.
Yeah.
Right. And so what happened in the Czech Border Patrol, they first had the Czechoslovakian wolf dog, which was, or Československý vlčák, which was a breed promoted by a guy named Karl Hartl, who just passed away not that long time ago. He created this breed. It exists still and stuff. And they tried to, Russians also, or Soviets, they crossbred these German Shepherds. They experiment with crossbreeding them with wolf, just like the Czechoslovakian wolf dog. And they had certain qualities which were good, like high endurance, good hips and all that, but they were often hard to train. Because they were kind of wolfy.
That's what I was going to say. The wolf gene just probably popped in.
Yeah, and so if they were easy to train, they were more like German Shepherd. And I asked Yuri, so why did you get rid of? Because when Hartl retired,
Yeah.
Yuri took over the
Yeah.
breeding program of the Czech Border Patrol, and I asked her, well, why? He says, what did you? He says, first thing I've done, I got rid of all the Czechoslovakian wolf dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why is that? And he says, well, because they were inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And when you breed, you need the litter to be consistent. You want to have a litter of puppies, 10 puppies, and of those 10 puppies, hopefully all 10 or as close to 10 will be suitable for the border patrol or police work.
Yeah.
And if he says if the dog, the Czechoslovakian wolf dog, was good working dog, he was more like German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm. So then,
Right. So he says, well, why, let's just improve the German Shepherd.
Uh-huh.
And he went to East Germany, and we're gonna make a story of how he did. Anyway, he went to East Germany, pick up some of those major studs over there, 5 of them, and then he brought them to the United States and bred them to top-notch Czech females, and create these Czech Border Patrol lines. And he used 5 male lines. It's not bloodlines, it's 5 male lines. Is that behind me?
Yeah.
That poster?
Yeah, I kind of see it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. The other way. Yeah.
That way, yeah. Let me see with my finger.
Yeah. Right there.
I don't know. It's delayed.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. That's for the posters.
Right. And they mailed me those. I ordered 30 of them. Hopefully, I probably will die before I sell them also.
Well, you never know. Maybe after this podcast.
Anyway, you breed in male lines, and each line has specific characteristics, and you need to stay within the line. Most people never even heard of it, especially the yahoos who are criticizing me. They probably never heard of it.
The experts.
The experts, yeah. And this is out there in literature. It's out there about this type of breeding in the male lines, right? And we talk about it sometimes else, but you need to, in order to maintain the predictability of what's going to happen, what is the litter going to be all about? It's based on these male lines. So if you stay within the same line, you're producing the same quality. It's almost like separate breeds, right? I always use the example of Labrador retrievers, right? You have a chocolate, black,
yellow,
and yellow, right? So if you want to keep black, you stay black. If you want to keep yellow, you keep yellow. If you want to stay chocolate, you stay chocolate. If you start crossbreeding them, you get, either black or yellow or polka dot. I don't know, right? You get inconsistency.
Yeah.
And that's why, people who criticize me a lot, they don't understand this, and they cannot produce this type of quality. So they themselves go to Europe to buy these dogs, right?
That's what's so interesting. They're
right?
criticizing you, but they're getting it from Europe.
Yeah, they're getting them from Europe themselves. Now the Czechs Border Patrol, they breed these dogs, and then when they bred them, like in Border Patrol, at one time they had 3 breeding stations, and all of them total, I think, and don't quote me on it, but it's close, had up to 1,500 dogs for breeding, purposes, and there they would use these top-notch dogs, and they would match them with a female, and see how they did with that female, and they studied the bloodline that female was from, right? So you have basically 4 or 5 different types of studs. You have the duds; they may be pretty great dogs and all that, and that's what Americans do. They pick up a great dog,
beautiful,
but he's a dud. He doesn't produce himself, right? Then you have the best ones are breed improvers. They do that with horses too. Breed improver. you can breed that dog to a goat and he's going to produce great German Shepherds, right? Then you have dog improvers with some females, not all of them, right? And then you have a dog maintainer who kind of produce himself, doesn't improve but produce himself, and all those three are valuable and used, but you gotta know how to use them.
Yeah.
And Yuri in the Czech Border Patrol knew how to use them. He knew if I breed this dog to this female, it's gonna be crap, but if I breed it to this female, it's not gonna be crap, it's gonna be good, right? And it requires a lot of knowledge of the dogs, and Yuri had a amazing memory. I could mention a dog to him, and he would kind of, oh yeah, I remember that dog. I start rattling out and talking. And I have a file cards, where I have all these, I have about 100 file cards or whatever with description of these dogs that Yuri gave me from past, And so you need to know all this, right? And you cannot do that as a civilian with limited amount of dogs. Yuri was the only one I know of who actually have done that, and he was maintaining 1,500 dogs. Did I say the Border Patrol had 1,500 dogs? No, they have 15,000 dogs.
You said 1,500, yeah.
15,000.
15,000.
Right.
Yeah, you said 1,500, yeah.
Yeah.
15,000.
Right. I think so. I'm
So
losing my mind.
it was
here.
up there.
But and because I know he scaled down when he went to civilian, become civilian, and he had 1,500, and he scaled down.
Yeah.
That was scaled down, 1,500 dogs, and so.
So he had this ginormous, large
genetic background, and he knew what to do with it.
Yeah.
Okay, and when he passed away, it was tremendous loss. And on top of it, let me say this, okay? He was also a German Shepherd judge. And in Czech, even back then, especially after the Iron Curtain fell down, a lot of Czechs got dogs from West Germany for sport. But they're different from the dogs which were bred for the Border Patrol.
Yeah.
Okay, and for police work, okay? Because the sport dogs are mainly based on prey drive, where the Czech Border Patrol dogs, they are prey and defense, emphasis of natural protectiveness.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Yuri had a following of people, okay, who like dogs, like he does, working dogs, balanced dog, meaning prey defense.
Yeah.
The natural protectiveness dog, sable, kind of rugged-looking dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas the German dogs kind of more sleek and more prey-driven and really happy-go-lucky kind of working dogs and stuff like that. Okay, and I remember I told Novotny once, "Hey, somebody complained that your dogs are too soft." He starts sending me these psycho killer Cascade dogs. I said, cool it down a little bit.
We got to sell them.
And so people need to understand this, right? So we're talking hundreds or even thousands of dogs which were bred and tested. Then when they bred, okay, let's go back to Border Patrol. So they bred the dogs to specific female, and then they would take the litter and they place the dogs with handlers who were working them like a normal dog.
Yeah.
And then they would do several tests on the dog, and they did all sorts of things.
Yeah. Which is in that document we're going to publish.
Yeah, that seminar,
broken down.
Yeah. And they did everything. They measured diameter of wrist and temperament and threat and gunfire and natural protectiveness. And they did it in several times in the life. So they want to see how the dog is developing. Is he getting better, or is he staying same, or is he getting backwards?
Yeah.
There's literally nobody I know of who would do all that thing on that scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was your dear friend.
Yeah,
Who you guys were business partners with, and so forth and so on. So
Yeah.
if you're listening to this, Hans is just talking about his story, and these are facts. It's not, these people that are criticizing Hans. I'm hoping they're going to listen to this podcast and
Fuck him, man.
well, I'm just.
But it's insulting. I have no problem with what other people do, but they come and they call me bullshit artist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they don't know. And so. But whatever. I don't want to get into
No,
this.
that's fine. No.
So what's going on is when Yuri was judge,
He was president, wasn't he?
he
President.
became president of German Shepherd Club eventually of Czech Republic. CMKU, Českomoravská kinologická unie.
The whole nation. He's the president of the whole nation's German Shepherd Club.
Right. But we are bullshit artists, right?
Okay.
And but what happened was there was about 75% of the Czech dogs were sport West German lines, and only about 25 or 30% were these type of dogs I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So just because you're buying Czech dogs, it has nothing to do with geographical purity.
Yeah.
Yuri would even put show dogs in his line sometimes if they were good. There is this dog Vilo von Arminius, and I talked about him in that other video once. It was a badass dog.
Yeah.
And he had good structure and all that, and he would incorporate him in his breeding program.
Yeah.
Look him up. Vilo von Arminius was a badass, excellent working dog.
Yeah.
And he was tested and he produced.
Yeah.
So Yuri didn't really care where the dogs come from, or if they were show or sport or whatever, right, or work. He looked for good dogs which would fit to his characteristic of the versatility of the German Shepherd, what it's supposed to be. And so that's what makes these dogs special, the Czech dog special, ZVV program, and then the development of Border Patrol dogs, which influence literally thousands of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And even now you look, I can look at the dog, right?
And
and I said, that's a Czech dog. And then I look at the pedigree and there, 3 to 5 generations back, there's a bunch of Czech dogs.
And not just that, but if you see the dog in action, you kind of know what bloodline also comes from.
And you can see it even now when we train dogs. You can see the differences, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Dorka, for example, people laugh about her name.
Yeah.
She came and she was trained all sport in Czech. And we came at her and she just kind of like, what's going on? Looking, cocking the head. And so. And now she's like a firecracker, man.
Yeah.
3-5 sessions later.
Yeah.
And that's because it's there.
It's there.
You just got to pull it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Germans have good dogs. I'm not talking, and Dutch have good dogs and all that. But the specialty, if somebody start telling you that the Czech dogs and all that, it's all bullshit, and it's a gimmick and stuff. You need to understand why the Czech dogs are special.
Yeah. You have to understand dogs themselves before you make that comment too, because somebody that actually knows that, I don't know why they would actually even make that comment, because you have to know the dog.
Well, this guy, he's an excellent sports trainer and all that stuff, and I never took it away from him. I don't know why he's on my case for like 4 years now. I never... I don't care. Do whatever you want. Why do you feel like to?
Well, we started this podcast, to educate people. That's what it is still. That's what it's going to continue to be, right?
Yeah.
That's the main.
And anyway, I don't want to badmouth anybody. I could easily do that.
Yeah.
And I was cautioned myself and by others so not to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not, but I'm not mentioning any names. So a lot of people may know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And there's few people out there like that, but
Yeah.
one guy in particular.
Yeah.
And, it's, it hurts, because I put my heart and life into these dogs.
Yeah.
And to promote them and to bring them here and introduce them to the world and all that. Because when I came to the United States, I've seen these German Shepherds, and they just were. They were not good.
Yeah.
It was a joke. I mean, I don't want to take away from whatever they were, but they were not what I was used to see when I was living in Czech Republic.
Yeah. It's like an instrument, and somebody doesn't know how to play it well, but you heard that instrument played beautifully. You know that instrument could be played beautifully. You're like, there's much better, someone that can play it better.
Right.
Kind of similar concept, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm not being sore about this because I really don't care.
Yeah.
But what I'm publishing this for is so people who see these type of videos calling me names and stuff, they may understand where I'm coming from. Okay, so I just want to counter the ridiculous backwards arguments against what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's a real funny story about, share that one about Yuri getting the dogs from the Germans.
I thought we were going to do some other time.
Or do you want to do another time? Okay, we'll hold it back, actually. That'll keep the audience, actually, probably. It's a good teaser.
Yeah, what the hell? I'll say it now.
I don't know.
Yuri, when he got rid of the Czechoslovakian wolfdog in the Czech Border Patrol, but he needed studs. So they were trying to get, and the standard of top good German Shepherd back then was East Germany Border Patrol dogs.
This is late 70s, early 80s, something like that.
Yeah, it was 80s, early 80s.
Early 80s, yeah.
And he tried to get these dogs from Germany, some good top studs, and they did not want to sell the best to Czech.
Yeah, these are Germans. Like, we want to keep her.
Yeah, and plus German and Czech, there's no love lost, right?
Yeah.
So Yuri got this bus, They have like a bus to move conscripts around, and stuff, So they had a bus on the base, diesel, which comes to play.
Yeah.
And they drove to Germany, and there was this officer, whoever, I don't know the names.
Yeah.
But the story is true. And they were kind of surprised that they showed up. And he said, well, we are here to buy some dogs from you guys for Czechoslovakian breed program as a socialist brothership or whatever you call it.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they said, oh, okay. And so they had a list of these dogs they want. And they said, there's no way they're going to sell those dogs because Yuri knew those dogs.
Yeah.
And they said, no way. So they pull up a bottle of Slivovitz. Somebody who doesn't know what Slivovitz is, it's a plum brandy, which takes a real man to drink.
Yeah. You can fuel a rocket ship.
Yeah. You can. Elon Musk should try it for his rockets. And they start drinking heavy, right?
Yeah.
And they drunk, and the Yuri says, I made sure that the German officers are more drunk than we were.
Yeah.
And when they were pretty drunk, they gave them they said, so are you going to sell us the dogs? And they said, whatever. Yeah. And so they made them sign the paperwork and all that and get the dog and loaded them in the bus.
Yeah.
And they... And so they said, okay, good night, and they went and asked for Czech Republic, right?
Yeah, with the dogs.
But they run out of fuel, out of diesel. So now they have these dogs which these Germans didn't want to sell, but they got them because they got them drunk.
Yeah.
And now they run out of fuel. And back then the fuel was like, you couldn't just go to gas station and get fuel.
Yeah.
Right? So they went and there was a payphone, so they called the German base and said they need some fuel. So they brought the fuel and fill up their bus, and they got home,
Yeah.
But it was pretty embarrassing that they basically semi-stole the dogs,
Yeah.
and they run out of fuel. So that's the story how these 5 main dogs, Czech dogs, foundation dogs for the Czech Border Patrol. And they were the best East German Border Patrol had back then.
He knew what.
And those dogs are gone, I mean, a lot of these, what happened after the Iron Curtain fell down, they completely scrapped the
programs,
the Border Patrol program in Germany and in Czech. Okay. And I mean, I remember they were selling bunches of dogs, East German dogs to the United States, like 5 dogs for $500 for no papers, right? And that's what happened then in Czech too. I've been on these bases. I don't know if I can dig out the pictures. I don't know where those pictures. They're somewhere buried in my computer. And you see the base, Liběchovice, and there's like a rows of these kennels, and they're empty. They could have bordered 450 dogs over there, and there was nothing. There was one bitch with a litter of puppies. That was it.
So they sold them for nothing, probably, right?
Well, all the program went to private people.
Yeah.
And they were basically scrapped out.
Yeah.
And Yuri, that's when he retired and rescued those dogs. He, resurrected the program privately. And then he died, eventually of COVID.
Yeah.
So that was one of the tremendous losses.
Yeah.
So those DDR dogs were preserved in those Czech dogs, but eventually when the communists, there was a great animosity of people in the Germany and in Czech Republic against these dogs, because these dogs symbolize
communism,
the communism and the fascistic kind of
especially
regime.
Border Patrol.
Especially Border Patrol, because they would say, they were the symbol of people being held in the
freedom,
away from freedom, escaping into freedom.
I can see that, for sure.
So that was one of the reasons why. Well, it was the main reason, if not the reason why.
Yeah.
But Yuri, rescued several of those dogs.
He just saw the dog. He didn't look at.
And he kept the program going privately.
Yeah. And he was almost the guy to do that.
Huh?
I mean, he was the guy to.
There was nobody
else, literally.
There was nobody else.
Yeah. So you guys are hearing a story of the guy who kept it.
Yeah, and then you can go on internet and YouTube and find a story from Yahoos who are gonna discredit this. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I don't care. You can tell whatever, If people say, "Well, you're an asshole," I say, "I know I'm an asshole. So why are you telling me that?" Okay. Yeah. But don't tell me something I already know, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to do here, I want you guys to understand what this is all about.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, I said, DDR dogs. I said, do you know what DDR stands for? They don't even know it was a country. They say it's some kind of a bloodline or something of dogs. Yeah. DDR means Deutsches Demokratisches Republik, right? I mean, German Democratic Republic. Yeah. And that country is gone. Germany united.
Yeah.
My grandma's spitting in the grave because her husband, my grandpa, died in concentration camp, and she always kept saying, "Don't you ever allow Germany to unite again." So, that's a different story.
And you guys are actually part of, or you guys are, whoever watching, the one that actually wants to take this seriously are torchbearers. If you're listening to the story to learn more,
if you want to breed these type of dogs, first you got to learn about the male lines, and we are gonna make a podcast on it or whatever.
Well, it's a little bit more, but could be more, but could be an instructional, because you said you need a whiteboard a little bit on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, there's going to be something out on
Either we
passing
sell it or I
Whichever.
mean, or maybe I just leave it on free podcast because I want this to be public knowledge and not
Yeah.
just few people.
Yeah.
Yuri was very secretive about it, and I said to him, "You need to teach this for the sake of the breed." I said, "It's out there. Why should I tell him?"
Yeah. Well, he was gonna write a book, supposedly, right?
He was going to
Or
write
that-
the book, but
Yeah.
he died, the son of a bitch.
Yeah. So he took that knowledge.
Yeah, he took it with him. I miss him every day, man.
Yeah.
One of the best people I ever met in my life. Very nice guy, even to his enemies.
Yeah. I mean, the story of you meeting, well, you didn't meet him face to face per se because you were here in the U.S., but that whole story too is great. How there's a lot of faith there of how you guys met and so forth. So,
But that's recorded already in other
it is.
podcasts.
Yeah, it's in actually if you guys go to the top of the channel there, the black and white video.
Yeah.
Or you go to Alpine K9 Reel. The video is there. Hans's life story basically, and he discusses these things. But yeah.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We should publish it as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll publish this one. Yeah, in time for sure. So that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you're interested in getting more knowledge from Hans through instructional videos, please visit alpine9reel.com. The videos are there. All the information is down below this video. If you're looking for a puppy or a trained adult dog that comes from the Czech Republic, Hans is your man. These dogs that Hans just discussed, the type of dogs they're there in the Czech Republic. They're flown in.
Let me say one more thing.
Yeah.
I know people have to turn the computer off, but it's like when you run the movie in movie theater, the movie ends and then they start showing
Well, the real people are still here.
the real stuff, right? I smuggled those dogs, me and this one guy, Otamello, we smuggled these dogs across the border in the trunks of the car. I went through the border and I would have 5 German Shepherds in a trunk of
Puppies. Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, these were okay.
Big dogs.
Oh, big dogs, okay.
5 big dogs.
Yeah.
In the trunk of the car. In Czech, the transportation of the dog in trunk of a car is normal.
Yeah.
Here it's cruel, right?
Yeah, but you're going through the border. I mean, that's,
I was
that's
going
no
through the
joke.
border and there's this guy that showed me your passport. I was
Yeah.
already American citizen.
Yeah.
And I'm showing him passport. He says, well, you have anything to declare? And I said, no. I was just hoping the dogs...
The dogs won't like bark or something.
Yeah, I'll get into a fight back then.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that was that was adventure, and then in Czech, they were suing Yuri
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
that
too.
that he tried to steal the dogs, that he stole dogs and sent them to America, which is not true.
Yeah, it went to court.
They went to court for 3 years, and finally they couldn't find anything against him. But it's still going on out there through the circuit that lie because they want to hurt us.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
No, what happened was Yuri would use a bitch or stud from private sector, okay? Or he had his own breed. No, this is argument most of the time. That's other. But he would have his own breeding program besides being in military. He also had his breeding program already going on. And he when he had a really good stud, he would use his stud for the breeding of the Border Patrol puppies.
Yeah.
Right? And as a payment for that, he would get 1 puppy, which was standard and allowed, a normal thing.
Yeah.
And it was all documented and all that. And some people said, oh yeah, he stole the dog and sold them all to America.
Yeah.
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 And the reason why I smuggled the dog, because to get a permit to export dogs from Czech Republic from the government was like impossible.
Yeah.
But we could get the paperwork, for the dog, no problem.
Yeah.
So as long as the dog was on the other side of the border,
Yeah.
we can then get the dog registered and transfer paper. That was no problem. It was like 2 separate bureaucracy which didn't talk to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Oh, and then also, maybe I should cut this part out and put it in the video. But Yuri titled how many dogs himself? You know.
as far as I know, before he died, he titled it well over 200 dogs, 250 dogs
Yeah.
or so.
So
You know, some Yahoo telling me, you know, we didn't ever title dogs. I didn't much do titling. I did mainly police and personal protection work, but I did title some dogs.
yeah.
And but Yuri, you know, he titled 250 or more dogs.
Yeah.
You know, and that's documented.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody they can go ahead and look it up.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know, so yeah, telling us that we didn't ever title dog is like a bunch of
lie.
malarkey.
It's a lie, basically.
Okay.
All right,
I'm
guys.
done now.
All right. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe and share, and we'll see you guys next time.
Ahoy!